Hi, I'm Kennedy. Up until last Saturday, I thought I had a pretty decent relationship with my husband Blake's family. We'd been married for 2 years, and I was finally 4 months pregnant after trying for what felt like forever. Blake and I were over the moon, and most of his family seemed genuinely happy for us, except for his Aunt Patricia. "Are you sure that dress is appropriate?" Blake's mother asked as I adjusted my baby bump-friendly outfit before his cousin Melissa's wedding. "What do you mean? It's not white, it's not too short, it's not too revealing," I replied, smoothing down the pale blue fabric. Blake stepped in. "Mom, Kennedy looks beautiful. The dress is perfect." I know. It's just that Patricia mentioned, well, never mind. You look lovely, dear." She hugged me awkwardly before hurrying off. "What was that about?" I asked Blake. He sighed, running a hand through his dark hair. "Aunt Patricia's been making comments. She thinks you're trying to steal Melissa's thunder by being pregnant at the wedding." "That's ridiculous. I can't exactly pause being pregnant, and we already waited until after the first trimester to tell everyone." "I know, babe. Just ignore her. Patricia's always been dramatic." "Dramatic how?" I pressed, sensing there was more to the story. "Let's just say she once boycotted my cousin Jake's graduation because his girlfriend had recently dyed her hair the same color as Patricia's. Said the girl was mocking her." I laughed nervously. "You're kidding, right?" "Wish I was. Just stay clear of her today, okay?" The ceremony went beautifully. Melissa looked stunning, and her new husband couldn't take his eyes off her. During the reception, I was chatting with Blake's cousin Amber when I felt a tap on my shoulder. "So," Patricia's voice was ice cold. "You just had to be the center of attention, didn't you?" I turned slowly, plastering on my most polite smile. "Hello, Patricia. It was a beautiful ceremony, wasn't it?" "Don't play innocent with me," she hissed. "You could have worn something to hide that." She gestured at my small baby bump. "I'm not hiding my pregnancy, Patricia. Melissa knows, and she was thrilled for us." "Thrilled?" She was being polite. This is her day. "Is everything okay here?" Blake appeared at my side, tension radiating from him. Patricia's face transformed instantly. "Blake, your wife and I were just chatting. Congratulations on the baby." Her voice dripped with insincerity. As Blake guided me away, I heard Patricia muttering to another guest about attention-seeking behavior. The evening continued, and I was sitting at our table while Blake fetched drinks when I heard shouting from across the room. I turned to see Patricia pointing at me, face contorted with rage, screaming something I couldn't make out. Then, in one fluid motion, she grabbed a decorative crystal vase from the centerpiece and hurled it directly at me. Everything seemed to move in slow motion. I barely managed to duck as the vase shattered against the wall behind me, sending water and flower petals everywhere. The music screeched to a halt. Every head turned. "You ruined everything!" Patricia screamed. "This was supposed to be Melissa's perfect day." Security rushed over as Blake ran to my side. "Are you hurt?" he asked frantically, checking me over. "I'm okay," I whispered, shaking uncontrollably. "The baby's okay." My friend Tara gripped my hand. "Kennedy, that woman is insane. She could have seriously hurt you and the baby." "What happened exactly?" I asked, still in shock. "I was just sitting here. She saw you talking to the photographer," Tara explained, her voice trembling with anger. "She started ranting about how you were trying to get pregnancy photos taken at Melissa's wedding. Then she just snapped." As security escorted a still screaming Patricia out, I locked eyes with Melissa, who stood frozen in horror, her perfect day in shambles. In that moment, I knew this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The day after the wedding, our house became a revolving door of concerned visitors. Blake and I sat at our kitchen table with his parents, the conversation tense. "She could have hurt Kennedy and the baby," Blake said firmly. "This isn't something we can just sweep under the rug." His father nodded gravely. "Patricia has always been difficult, but this crossed a line." "Difficult?" I repeated incredulously. "She threw a vase at a pregnant woman, at her own daughter's wedding." "What are you planning to do?" Blake's mother asked nervously. "Press charges," Blake stated without hesitation. His mother gasped. You can't. She's family. That doesn't give her the right to assault my wife, Blake countered, his hand finding mine under the table. The doorbell rang, and Blake went to answer it. He returned with Melissa and her new husband, Ryan. Kennedy, I am so sorry, Melissa said immediately, her eyes red from crying. Mom has always been controlling, but I never thought she'd do something like this. It's not your fault, I assured her. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. Melissa sat down, twisting her wedding ring anxiously. Mom called me this morning, and she's convinced you deliberately provoked her. What? Blake and I exclaimed simultaneously. I know it's not true, Melissa hurried to add, but she's demanding I take her side or she'll disown me. Her voice broke on the last word. Ryan put his arm around her. We've decided we can't enable her behavior anymore. We support whatever you decide to do, Kennedy. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Blake's older brother, Jack. I came as soon as I heard, he said, hugging me carefully. Are you okay? I'm fine, just shaken, I replied. Jack's expression darkened. Patricia called me. She wants me to talk you out of making trouble. Said it was just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I echoed in disbelief. That's what she's telling everyone, Jack confirmed. She says you were flaunting your pregnancy, trying to upstage Melissa. That's absurd, Blake snapped. I know, Jack agreed. But Aunt Diane is backing her up. Blake's mother wrung her hands. Maybe if you just talk to Patricia. No, I interrupted firmly. She threw a vase at me. She endangered our baby. There's no talking this out. Kennedy's right, Melissa said quietly. Mom needs consequences. This isn't the first time she's done something like this. Just the worst. What do you mean? I asked. Melissa shared a look with Ryan before continuing. When I was 15, she threw a hairdryer at my friend because she thought the girl was flirting with my dad. She has issues with other women getting attention. Why hasn't anyone addressed this before? Blake demanded. Because everyone's afraid of her, Jack said bluntly. She's the family matriarch since Grandma died. She controls the family vacation property, the holiday gatherings. So we just let her assault people? I challenged. The room fell silent. Finally, Tara, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. I have the whole thing on video. I was taking candid shots of the reception when it happened. All eyes turned to her. You recorded it? Blake asked, hope dawning in his voice. Tara nodded, pulling out her phone. Everything. Her screaming, throwing the vase, the works. I looked around the table, at Blake's supportive face, at Melissa's tearful but resolute expression, at Jack and Tara's determined looks. Then we have proof, I said, a plan forming in my mind. And I know exactly what we're going to do. 3 days after the wedding, we arranged to meet Patricia at Blake's parents' house. I insisted on being there, despite Blake's concerns. You don't have to face her, he said as we pulled into the driveway. Yes, I do, I replied, my hand protectively over my baby bump. For our child. Patricia was already inside, sitting regally in an armchair like she was holding court. Blake's parents looked uncomfortable, while Melissa and Ryan sat stiffly on the couch. Jack leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Well, isn't this dramatic? Patricia said as we entered. A family meeting over a little misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I repeated, my voice steady despite my racing heart. You threw a heavy crystal vase at a pregnant woman? Patricia waved dismissively. I threw it near you, not at you. If you hadn't been making such a spectacle of yourself. Stop it, Mom, Melissa interrupted. We all saw what happened. Patricia's eyes narrowed. I expected more loyalty from my own daughter, especially after I spent a fortune on your wedding, which she ruined. She jabbed a finger toward me. I ruined nothing, I said firmly. I wore an appropriate dress. I congratulated the couple. I danced. I celebrated. I existed while pregnant. That's it. You were showing off, Patricia insisted, her voice rising. Getting everyone to touch your stomach, talking about baby names during my daughter's special day. Blake stepped forward. That never happened, and you know it. Are you calling me a liar? Patricia demanded, standing up. Yes, I said simply. That's exactly what we're doing. The room went deadly quiet. How dare you? Patricia whispered, her face flushing. After everything I've done for this family. Blake, control your wife. I don't need controlling, I replied before Blake could speak. But you do need help, Patricia. Professional help. You little... Patricia started toward me, but Jack moved quickly to block her path. We have the incident on video, I continued calmly. All of it. Your accusations, the vase, everything. Patricia froze. You're bluffing. I nodded to Tara, who pulled out her phone and pressed play. The sound of Patricia's screaming voice filled the room, followed by the crash of shattering glass and gasps from the wedding guests. As the video ended, Patricia's face had gone chalk white. I've already filed a police report, I said. Assault and battery with evidence. The officer mentioned possible charges of endangering an unborn child as well. You can't be serious, Patricia spluttered. Blake, tell her she can't do this to me. Actually, she can, Blake replied coldly. And she has my full support. Patricia's shock quickly morphed into rage. This is how you repay family? I'll make you sorry for this, all of you. She pointed at Melissa. You can forget about your inheritance. And you, she turned to Blake's parents. I'll make sure everyone knows how you failed to raise your son properly. That's enough. Blake's father finally spoke up. You've terrorized this family for years, Patricia. No more. We're done being afraid of you, Melissa added, standing to join me. Patricia looked around the room, seeing only resolved faces. Something seemed to break in her then. Her shoulders slumped slightly. Fine, she said, her voice suddenly soft. I admit I overreacted. I was stressed about the wedding. Kennedy, I'm sorry, I truly am. Can't we put this behind us? For the family's sake? I almost wavered at her apparent sincerity. Almost. No, I said firmly. Your apology doesn't erase your actions, or the danger you put my baby in. You ungrateful... Patricia lunged toward me suddenly, hands outstretched like claws. Blake and Jack barely managed to hold her back as she screamed, You'll regret this! Nobody turns my family against me! Nobody! As Blake's parents called the police, I watched Patricia's mask of civility completely disintegrate, revealing the truth that had always been there. All rise, the bailiff called as the judge entered the courtroom. It had been 2 months since the incident at the wedding. My baby bump was more pronounced now, and Patricia's case was finally being heard. She had been charged with assault and reckless endangerment. How are you feeling? Blake whispered as we sat down. Nervous, I admitted, but ready. Our lawyer, Sarah, had prepared us well. The prosecution had the video evidence, statements from multiple witnesses, and even the medical report from when I'd gone to get checked after the incident, just to make sure the baby was okay. The Commonwealth calls Kennedy Mitchell to the stand, the prosecutor announced after opening statements. As I was sworn in, I caught Patricia's eye. She sat beside her lawyer, dressed conservatively, her expression a carefully constructed mask of remorse. Mrs. Mitchell, please tell the court what happened on May 15th at the Westbrook Hotel, the prosecutor requested. I recounted the events clearly, my voice growing stronger as I spoke. When asked why I decided to press charges, I didn't hesitate. Because I needed to protect my child, myself, and honestly, the rest of the family. This wasn't an isolated incident, but it was the most dangerous one. Someone could have been seriously hurt. Patricia's lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive during cross-examination. Isn't it true that you and Mrs. Harrington had previous disagreements? No, I replied honestly. Before the wedding, our interactions were minimal and polite. And you never considered dropping the charges, even after she apologized? An apology followed immediately by more threats isn't genuine, I pointed out. And it doesn't undo the danger she put my baby in. Throughout the proceedings, Melissa's testimony proved particularly powerful. She detailed her mother's history of volatile behavior and how she'd been conditioned to accept it as normal. I love my mother, Melissa said tearfully on the stand. But she needs help she's never been willing to get. When the verdict came, guilty on all counts, Patricia's face remained eerily calm. The judge sentenced her to probation, mandatory anger management therapy, and a restraining order preventing her from coming within 500 feet of me, Blake, or our baby. As we left the courthouse, Patricia approached with her lawyer, stopping at the legally required distance. "Kennedy, please," she called, her voice honeyed. "This has gone far enough. We're family. Let's put this behind us before the baby comes." Blake started to usher me away, but I turned back. "We're not family, Patricia. Not anymore. The restraining order details are very clear." "I've learned my lesson," she insisted, her eyes darting to the reporters nearby. "I'm getting help. I'm changing. Don't you believe in forgiveness?" "What I believe in is consequences," I replied steadily, "and protecting my family from toxic people. That's what good mothers do." Her mask slipped for just a second, a flash of the same rage I'd seen at the wedding, before her lawyer whispered something in her ear and guided her away. 6 weeks later, we gathered at our house for a small dinner party. Melissa and Ryan were there, along with Jack, Tara, and Blake's parents. My baby shower was scheduled for the following weekend, the first major family event without Patricia. "A toast," Blake announced, raising his glass of sparkling cider in solidarity with my non-alcoholic beverage, "to family, real family, who stand by each other when it matters. And to boundaries," Melissa added, smiling at me, "which I'm finally learning to set thanks to you, Kennedy." "How does it feel?" Tara asked me later as we sat in the nursery I'd just finished decorating. "Knowing she can't hurt you anymore?" I rubbed my growing belly, feeling my daughter kick against my palm. "It feels like freedom," I said simply. "For all of us, but especially for this little one. She'll grow up knowing her mom fought for her, right from the beginning. And that toxic behavior has consequences," Tara added. "Exactly." I smiled, thinking of the family we'd rebuilt, stronger, healthier, and finally free from the shadow of Patricia's rage. Some people might think revenge is about making someone suffer, but real revenge? It's about reclaiming your power and creating boundaries that can never be crossed again. As if in agreement, my daughter kicked once more, strong and determined. Just like her mother. Have you ever had to cut someone toxic out of your life for your own well-being? Share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.